Okay. Good afternoon, councillors, officers and ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to County Hall to the council meeting on the 5th of November. First of all, I have to do some housekeeping. I would like to remind you all that this meeting is live on the YouTube channel. Before we move into this afternoon's proceedings, there are a few housekeeping matters that I'd like to bring to members' attention. I would like to remind members and officers to stand and address the chair when they are speaking in the chamber. Can I also please remind members that other than the proposer of a motion, any speeches must be limited to 3 minutes and directed to the item or question under discussion. Please may I remind members, officers, including the press and public that are in attendance today, that all mobile phones must be in silent and switched off, and no calls should be made or received in the chamber. Thank you. On to the agenda. Agenda item 1, apologies for absence. I only have one, Councillor Allen. Do we have any from the floor? Councillor Hill.
Councillor Kennedy.
And Councillor Kennedy. Thank you, Councillor Hill. Agenda item 2, minutes of the meeting of the County Council held on the 10th of September 2025 as circulated to be confirmed as a true record. These are pages 9 to 28 in your papers. These are for accuracy only. Can we confirm the minutes a true record? Agreed? Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda, disclosures of members' interest. Do any members have any interest to declare that have not already been declared to the monitoring officer before the meeting? I can see none. Item 4 on the agenda, announcements by the chair and leader. First of all, congratulations to Ashington. They have their 3rd World Cup winner, the Best Station World Cup. Now, to be honest, I'd never heard of this competition before, but congratulations to Ashington and to a lot of people who put a lot of work in. I know all the sporting clubs that Ashington got behind this. Councillor Wearmouth and Councillor Ball also played a big part in it, so well done to you all. I was invited with the Deputy Leader to open Bebbside Station a couple of weeks ago, which is a fantastic station again, and I know the Leader will probably want to say more on that in his announcements. I was also invited to open the Stonehoff Reivers Trail, which is opening up over 200 miles of more track and trails for horses, bikes, cyclists and wheelchair users, which is links the Kielder to Stonehoff, Hexham and Hadrian's Wall, which is fantastic for the tourist industry and for the local economy, so good luck to that. And if you ever go near Stonehoff, please pop into the little community pub there. It's a great little bar. Also invited to the Staff Awards, again with the Leader, and the Leader will probably want to say some things on that as well, at Alnwick Castle, Alnwick Gardens in fact. Second time I've been to it, and it really just shows what quality of staff we have at this council. We should really all, I know we are, but we should really be proud of them. Some of the things that they're achieving is just unbelievable, and it's very, very good. Macmillan tea morning, coffee morning this morning. Thank you to all who've participated. I know a few of you got here and the cakes had all been sold out. Everything had been sold out, and they raised a massive £875. So well done to the girls who organised it and to all the staff. And the last on my list, but certainly no means least, Remembrance Sunday. I think there's quite a few events going on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, which I'm sure you'll all be attending your local Remembrance Day services. And we have one on Tuesday the 11th at County Hall at obviously 11 o'clock. So I hope to see you all there for that. It's a really good service. So in fact, I will now hand over to Councillor Sanderson, the leader, for his announcements.
No, I'm all right.
that's unusual. But I'll move on quickly before the leader changes his mind. Item number 5 on the agenda, public questions. We have received 3 questions from the public. They all refer to the same subject, and I would usually ask the questioners to combine the question. However, I've decided not to do this on this occasion, but I've asked the leader to provide a consolidated response to all the questions. I will ask one by one the members of the public to read their questions. I will have the leader answer, then you have in turn a chance for a supplementary question. So I will start with the first questioner, please, which is
Kate McCabe on behalf of Medburn Park Management Company. On behalf of the Medburn Park Management Company and the residents of Medburn Park, can I ask the leader to explain why we haven't received a response to any of our communications regarding the unsafe and unfinished roads and pavements on our housing development near Ponteland? Despite repeated contact throughout 2024 and 2025, including calls, emails, and a formal letter sent on the 11th of July 2025 to senior Northumberland County Council staff, no action or acknowledgement has followed. Follow-up letters on the 17th of September have also been ignored. An official complaint has been submitted, and as of the 28th of October 2025, no reply has been received, which breaches Northumberland County Council's stated 15-day response policy.
Thank you, Ms McCabe. Mr P. Butler, please.
Phil Butler, also asking a question on behalf of Medburn Park Management Company. All residents purchasing a property at Medburn Park relied on the protection of the Section 38 when we purchased our properties. In respect of the Section 38 agreement relating to this land at Greenrig, Medburn, Northumberland, what steps did the Council take to monitor and enforce the obligations of the owner, the Medburn Land Company Limited, and to consult with the surety to mitigate losses resulting from the default by the owner?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr Butler. Ms Sewell.
Leslie Sewell, one of the residents of Medburn Park. The residents of Medburn Park have written to the Council on numerous occasions since early 2022 with regard to the estate roads and pavements in enforcing the Section 38. We have had no response to our questions or formal complaint. Can the Chair of the Council commit to ensuring that the appropriate accountable officers and/or councillors will meet with the residents of Medburn Park by the 15th of December 2025 to progress the Section 38 and agree timescales to resolve the matter of the estate roads and pavements?
Thank you, Ms Sewell. I'll now call on the leader, Councillor Sanderson, to reply to those questions.
Thank you very much for taking the trouble to give us those questions and for coming in today. As you know, I've written to you to suggest that we meet up, ideally in Medburn, so you can point out exactly the issues that you've been describing. And I will, if you are agreeable to that, I will ask the relevant officers to come with me as well. Now, up and down the country, never mind in this county, many councillors are already facing problems with developers who build a new estate. And then when it comes to doing the final bits that are important to householders, like finishing road surfaces or pavements or streetlights, they're very hard to catch up with. Now, that's not finding an excuse. That is basically a fact. So what we need to do is make sure that we encourage government to increase the powers that local councils have over developers to make sure that they pick up their responsibilities when they should, because there is nothing worse than meeting your dream home, finding a dream place to live, and then finding nothing but hassle after that. And so it's not acceptable, and it's not acceptable for you where you are either. Now, I'm still looking into the history of this. It's a very complex one because, as you know, the developer was going to go into liquidation and then, I understand, didn't. But that, along with a number of other issues, are those that I'm looking at carefully now. So that if you agree to meet me and the officers in Medburn, we can look at the whole of the history, and by then I will be better briefed and will be able to get through all of this very tangled history so that we can work together to make things better.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. I will ask you one by one if you have a supplementary which has to relate to the answer you've received. Ms McCabe.
Councillor Sanderson, why was there no response to our communications? We have written and emailed many, many times.
Thank you. Councillor Sanderson.
So am I doing each supplementary one by one? Okay, so as I said, I'm not clear yet about the whole of the history of this. I haven't been able to get all the information I want. Until such time I do, I will then be in a much better position to be able to see what might have gone wrong or may have been simply down to the tangled history of this particular developer. Not that I'm casting aspersions upon the developer, but simply saying that there have been some issues around it. So if you just give me a little bit longer, by the time we meet up, if you're happy to meet up, and it'll certainly be before Christmas if that's what you want, I will have much more in the way of an answer on that.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Mr Butler, do you have a supplementary?
Not so much a supplementary question. I just confirm that we have had correspondence in the last couple of days with Councillor Sanderson. We are very happy to take up your offer of coming along to see us. Your PA is trying to find an appropriate date for us, and we are very happy to accommodate as far as we can to meet you. At the moment, we're talking about sometime in the next 2 weeks, I think. And that'll be very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Butler. Ms Sewell, have you a supplementary?
Yes. Thank you for offering to meet with us. That's very positive and a step forward. I think it's just assurance that this will be taken seriously now, because we have contacted the council numerous occasions and it hasn't been taken seriously to date. And obviously enact the Section 38 so that we can move forward and have clear timescales.
Thank you, Ms Sewell. Councillor Sanderson, do you like to reply?
No, my PA is organising a date, I think. We'll do that, and she's also liaising with the planning, the head of planning, who needs to come as well. And also I'd like to invite Mark Mather, who's our cabinet member for roads, so he can see for himself. We might ask Chris Westerby possibly to come as well, because it's important that everybody is involved and we can see exactly the state and the issues there.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. We now move on to item 6 on the agenda, which is questions from members. Now, members, we currently have 22 questions, which I think is somewhat of a record. I believe so, but we have 20 minutes, as you know, allocated for this session. So there'll obviously not be enough time to get through all the questions in the time allowed. Those questions that do not get answered will receive a written reply and be published on the Council's website, and it'll be in the next minutes. Members, I am normally fairly lenient in an attempt to allow members to ask their questions, but since there's such a volume, I think the only way to proceed is to keep the allocated 20 minutes. Obviously, as long as somebody is asking a question, it will be answered. Members, we normally get 6 or 7 questions. In the absence of any formal procedure, I've taken them in order received. So as they came into officers, that is the order that they will be taken in. In future, we'll take this to the Constitutional Working Group for consideration on how to maybe change the system to see if we can make better progress and come up with possibly different ideas how we deal with question time. So we will move to the first question. Now, the rules, the response should be up to 5 minutes or less. The question obviously be as succinct as possible. If you ask a supplementary question, you have a minute to ask that, and the response will be 2 minutes. The first question is to the leader, and it's from Councillor Peart. Councillor Peart.
Thanks, Chair. I was wondering how much has actually been spent to date on the net zero climate change agenda, including staffing, communications, external contractors and consultancy fees. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peart. Councillor Sanderson.
I'm surprised, actually, it's taken till now for Reform to ask that question. I welcome the question because it allows me to explain just how important the issue of caring for our environment and climate change is for this council, and I think it is for probably almost every councillor, actually. Now, I was pleased last week to be joined by some of your group at the opening of a new fantastic project around renewable energy at the Catapult in Blythe. And that actually kind of set the whole scene for what we're doing in Northumberland and what we're doing particularly in the Blythe area, but how the whole county is benefiting. Because the future is around renewable energy, we know that. And that's why there is so much money and time and expertise being brought into that. So for ourselves, since we declared our climate emergency in 2019, we've spent 0.9 million a year in revenue costs. Of that, almost half has been paid for by external funding. We have allocated £14.5 million to capital projects. They include, for example, the energy saving measures in homes, which has found a place within 860 homes, and that has saved each of those homes around £1,000 a year. And looking at our tackling inequalities priority, that's very important for us to be able to continue to do that work. We also have the excellent Environment and Climate Fund, which stands at the moment at £50,000, which is being allocated to a whole range of different projects and community groups across the county. And in addition to that, we've almost hit the £50,000 free trees given out. Now, all of these together are important to underline our commitment to doing what we can in our way to meet the climate change issue. To say there isn't one is made quite clear by that visit to the Catapult that some of your colleagues were there. The whole future is around green energy and renewable energy. But we will always maintain a balance in our spending, and we will always make sure that the level of funding is appropriate for what we do, and that we take people with us. At the end of the day, this is not around encouraging people to go and buy an electric car, because most of us can't afford a new electric car, but it's about saying to people, what can you do in your own individual way to meet the need that we have of reducing CO2 and ensuring that we are all signed up to this environment agenda. And I think it's important that nobody tells anybody what to do, but I think it's even more important that we do this and we remain committed for the sake of our young people. Because I'm absolutely certain if you went to every high school in Northumberland and asked each child how important is climate change, they would tell you it's very important to me, my generation. So that's why we remain committed.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Councillor Peart, have you a supplementary? You have 1 minute to ask your question and 2 minutes for the answer.
Yeah, a figure of 1.6 billion has previously been mentioned for Northumberland to become carbon neutral by 2030. What is the new estimated figure to include the data centre, which will be a large carbon dioxide producer? Can the council do the right thing and modify its unachievable and costly carbon neutral target by 2030?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I mean, if you look at the planning application, the planning permission for this brilliant new data centre that you will be delighted that we're getting, because not only that part of Northumberland benefits from the huge amount of jobs. The whole county will benefit through our Northumberland Growth Fund of 110 million, which is what we negotiated from that deal. So all Northumberland will benefit. So I'm glad you've raised it. If you look at the details within the Planning Commission, you will see what they have done around carbon offsetting, about the use of specific bits of land that will be used as carbon offsetting. And if you think about water, we will know that they've designed a way that doesn't require loads of new water coming in. They have a circular system of water use that will greatly reduce CO2 emissions there. For ourselves, we now have, I think, 46 electric vehicles, which in 2019, I think we had none. So we are doing what we can, but we are keeping everything in perspective. And I think that's what you would want. But underneath everything remains that commitment.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. The second question comes from Councillor Swinburne to Councillor Wearmouth. Councillor Swinburne.
Thank you, Chair. So there seems to be an opportunity to push the government to make a positive decision about Moor Farm roundabout rebuild. What can our residents, businesses and developers do to make sure we get investment that we need?
Councillor Wearmouth, and you have 5 minutes, Councillor Wearmouth.
I won't use the 5 minutes, Chair, but thank you. We have been making our case for improvements to Moor Farm, and the government's tone, I feel, is changing. We've had several sources suggest to us that the government is likely to fund Moor Farm, but not until RIS 4. I'm going to write to the Road Minister and ask for some clarification on that. I do remain worried that RIS 4 as a programme doesn't start until 2031, so if you add in all of the things in terms of planning and so on, it's still going to be the middle of the next decade before we see any progress, even if we do secure that funding. We want to see the planning work start ASAP. We want to see the land acquisition, the detailed design, and we want to see that starting now. But I guarantee that if I ask National Highways, are they able to do that? They'll say no, because they don't have the cash. So we've always got a solution here, Councillor Swinburne, and we would like to think that we'll have a receptive ear in the combined authority with Homes England and others, that we can perhaps pull together some sort of funding package that would allow those works to be done. So the minute that RIS 4 starts in 2031, that the diggers move in, and that's what we want to see. What can businesses do? We'd love to hear from businesses and with letters of support for what we're proposing, telling the story of how their business is being impacted by that congestion, and the same for residents. Write to your local councillors, write to us, and make it clear that you back our plan for investment in Moor Farm. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wearmouth. Councillor Swinburne, do you have a supplementary? You have 1 minute to ask it.
Thank you, Chair. It's interesting there that you mention National Highways could say there's no cash, because that's the same National Highways that's currently blocking development, because they say that, as it is, the roundabout can't cope with any increase. But what I wanted to ask is, are you aware that our Cramlington Conservatives currently have a petition on the go that all users, concerned residents and businesses can sign, and that we intend to send this to the government, asking for the government to do the right thing and resolve the increasing problems here?
Thank you, Councillor Swinburne. Councillor Wearmouth, you have 2 minutes to answer the question.
Thank you, Chair. Absolutely, I'm aware of that petition, and people could do nothing better than go and sign it and show the level of support and the depth of feeling that is existing on this matter. National Highways, you have these two parts of National Highways, one that constantly objects to everything and the other that says that everything's fine and there's no need for improvement. Clearly, those things can't both be true. They need to get their finger out and get the work done as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Wearmouth. Before we go on to the next question, members of the public who ask the questions, please, you're more than welcome to stay, but if you wish to leave, please feel free. Question 3 from Councillor Fairless Aiken, again to Councillor Wearmouth. Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. High street banking is in crisis. In West Northumberland, we have very few remaining to service our residents. It seems the big banks have lost their way entirely, being more about profits and speculation than burying themselves in the heart of communities as they used to be. There are non-INPRIDA and Haltwhistle, and only one bank left in Hexham. In my opinion, community banks are the way forward, and credit unions. And we have one, supported by NCC, the Northumberland Community Bank, which is now part of the North East Credit Union, and that was set up in 2017 and based in Ashington. Would Cabinet members be able to work with councillors in the West and the bank itself to establish NCC spaces where the bank could be based through the week for the benefit of face-to-face work with our communities, where the money could be reinvested back into the community, not for profit? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fairley-Saken. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you, Chair. We've already done some of this in places across the county, including libraries in Haltwhistle, Morpeth, Alnwick Playhouse, the Cheviot Centre in Wooler, and the Mechanics Institute also in Haltwhistle in terms of access to banking facilities. It's really important that we've done that. We'll always consider proposals for use of NCC facilities to support community banking, and we'll work with councillors across the whole of the county where we perceive there's a problem collectively to make sure that that happens. I would note that the post office is also a great source of banking in a lot of our communities as well, and we thank them for the work that they do. You mentioned community banks. They do have their place. They're never going to be able to replace everything that the big banks do. Let's be honest with ourselves about that. We have financially supported the Northumberland Community Bank, which did recently merge with North East First Credit Union and continues to provide some fantastic services and does an awful lot of good work across the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor
Thank you, Councillor Wearmouth. I've been talking to the North East Credit Union, and they're really keen to roll this out and have a meeting with us and members and relevant Cabinet members. Would that be something I could bank on in the next couple of weeks?
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Wearmouth.
I think the Chair should give you an extra question in a few more minutes for that joke at the end there. Absolutely, yeah, happy to sit down with Community Bank. Always have been, always will be.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Question 4, Councillor Hunter to the Leader. Councillor Hunter.
Thank you, Chair. As mine's a long question, I'll appreciate and just ask the Leader, have we got any updates on the dualling of the A1, not just up to North Charlton, but up to the Scottish border, because it is impacting on lives. Roads are getting shut on just about a weekly basis due to accidents.
Thanks for shortening that, Councillor. Councillor Sanson.
Yeah, thank you very much for raising that. I think every member, again, this is an issue that you will agree that the position on the A1 is appalling, and I look very closely at the Labour members at the back there and hope very much that they will continue to put pressure upon this government that the A1 must be dualled. There's no question about it. It is a fundamental need to have a strong spine road all the way up through between our part of the world and Scotland. And the fact we don't have, the fact we've got a dangerous road, the fact we've got a road that stops because it's so congested every day almost in the summer, and the fact that it has cost people their lives and cost people serious injuries. So it's an appalling decision that was made, and I do hope very much that one is looked at again. And to help that, what we've asked National Highways to do is to retain all the records and all the drawings and all the important information that was drawn together during the work that almost began, to make sure that that is retained safely, so that when the Conservative government come back in again, we can see that progress happening. And I look forward to that day. I would just say, however, there are other issues here that are very serious. What has happened is that there have been peanuts given to National Highways to do some small improvements on the road. They are peanuts, and they're not sufficient to do the big jobs that need to be done. For example, in Councillor Thorne's ward, where you have a really dangerous junction at Newton-on-the-Moor, in my ward, where you have Felton being used as a rat run, Thurston being used as a rat run, National Highways have done nothing so far. So we want to see some work done there. And I think the other really quite important point in all of this is that more traffic will use the A697. That's our road. Are we going to get any extra money from the government to cover all the extra costs and all the extra traffic that's going to use the A697? I doubt it. I doubt it very much. So what we are looking at the moment is how we can make that road safer ourselves and how we might see if we can put in a bid to the police to include more speed cameras along the 697 all the way up to Cornhill. And I think that would be some comfort to those people that live in the small villages there, right up and down that road. And we also need to make sure that the funding, the money, is not just given away to schemes in Labour heartlands, but actually is spent here in Northumberland, whether it's on the A1 or whether it's on the A697 or any other road that the national highways like Moor Farm roundabout is spent here. And I know the Berwick member who's smiling there will agree with me completely. We want the money spent in Northumberland, not in the Labour heartlands.
Thank you for that, Councillor Sanson. Councillor Hunter, do you have a supplementary?
Yes, I'd just like to say, having received a letter for the Department of Transport doesn't give me a lot of hope, but it's a case of, will this council, cross-party, just continue to lobby? Not particularly bothered which party, but we just want the road dualled. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hunter.
Yeah, no, I welcome the admonishment there. You have my commitment that we will work cross-party, because we will. And we will continue to say what we need to say. And I'm due to write again to the Secretary of State, and I will ask the group leaders of all the groups to co-sign that letter.
Thank you, Councillor Sanson. Councillor Hume to Councillor Mather.
There's a stark difference.
Sorry.
There's a stark difference in the specifications in both locations, Amble being of an inferior nature. The questions residents in Amble are asking is, where are their taxpayers' money going? And why is the delayed refurb of an inferior quality? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hume. Councillor Mather.
Thank you, Councillor, for your question. Both Amble public conveniences are currently being refurbished. The specification for those refurbishments will lead to significant improvement in both facilities and result in 2 high-quality public toilets being available for the town's residents and visitors. This work is a part of the Council's public convenience refurbishment programme, which is delivering significant improvements to all 54 public toilets, with 1.754 million having been spent on improvements to our public toilets between 2018-19 through the end of September 2025. At this time, when other local authorities are closing their facilities to save money, we are investing in ours to make sure that they have good quality modern facilities right across Northumberland. Each refurbishment is designed on its own merit, with specification being developed depending on the facility's need. For example, some facilities have needed significant repairs to the building as well as internal refurbishment. Some facilities having expensive items such as new floorings, whilst others have not. So each refurb is different, but a breakdown of the investment made in each town demonstrates Amble is not being shortchanged.
Thank you, Councillor Mather. Councillor Hume, do you have a supplementary?
Yes, please. I would just like to know if the specification of the one in Haltwhistle, which was just recently refurbed, is going to be the same as the one at Amble. Can you confirm that or not? And if not, is this because there's been a shortage of money?
Councillor Mather.
Thank you for that. So as I've stated, it would be on each individual merit. So if the toilet needs a certain level of work done, that's the specification that's designed. The current Amble facilities, from what was originally agreed with the Town Council, has actually been spec'd up. So more investment has been put into Amble facilities.
Thank you, Councillor Mather. Councillors, that is just over the 20 minutes. We aren't going to get any more questions in. All the questions that have not been answered, you will get a written answer. They will be published on the council website and be in next meeting's minutes. Item 7 on the agenda, councillors. This is a report from the leader, Berwick Maltings Theatre. Councillor Sanderson.
Thank you very much, Chair. So this report here is around not seeking new money, but asking for transitional funding to allow the Maltings Theatre programme to continue while there is a wait for the Borderlands funding to come on stream. The money that we're talking about from the County Council is not new money that we're borrowing, it's actually simply moving money from next year that we won't be needing straight away into carrying out this transitional funding to help the cash flow. What I would say is that I hope you have all had a chance to go and see what the Maltings looks like now. Maybe you've been, maybe you remember, and you go there regularly. It's such a good project, this, that I know that, that we are at a time in this council where we seem to be delivering, and forgive me, we seem to be delivering so many things. For example, a new Northumberland line that's carrying over 700,000 passengers and needs more carriages, with 2 new stations to open soon. A data centre that is going to produce £110 million worth of a growth fund for the Northumberland Growth Plan. And now, here, a new theatre. Some basic research shows that there isn't a new theatre being opened in the north of England, apart from a small one in Whitley Bay, for over 10 years. So this is a really major project for which I'm really grateful to a number of people. I'm very grateful to Ros, in particular, at the Maltings and her team up there, and for everyone that's been involved. I'm also very grateful to Catherine Seymour, who was the local member there until recently, who did an awful lot of background work on that. So this is asking your permission to move money around to support this great project for the benefit of those people who have the privilege of representing Berwick and more investment again. So those of you that go to the little parish councils and say the county council is hopeless, just look at the Maltings, for example, that we are producing. A great scheme and one I'm very proud of.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. In there somewhere, I think there was a proposal.
Yes, I'm sorry. My apologies, I'm terribly sorry. May I propose the recommendations?
Could we have a seconder? Councillor Hill. Members, please note this is for debate and not for questions. Would any member... This is for debate, not questions. Would any member like to speak?
Councillor Hill.
Yeah, Councillor Peart, then Councillor Hill.
Yes, I've got a debate point for you. Chair, this isn't about posing the Maltings. We all want to see it done right. But let's be straight. This is money pulled from Ashington again, just like the train lines before. They call it cash flow, but once the money's gone, it rarely comes back. The same way, if the Borderlands funding is later cut, something else will take the hit. That's exactly how councils work. Now, the people deserve honesty. Which projects are being dipped into and what plan if the funding slips, and when will it be paid back? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peart. Councillor Sanderson.
Thank you. So what I was trying to say in my description of this scheme was that this is money that is simply being moved into this year to be able to carry out the cash flow. It will be returned to the other schemes within the next 12 months. So nothing will stop in Ashington. And in fact, I'm glad you mentioned Ashington, because I believe I'm right in saying that we've found over £10 million for Ashington. And that what a great incentive that is. And in fact, it's true to say that at the moment we've got more money coming into Northumberland than at any time in the history of this county council. So Ashington will not lose out. Of course it won't. It will carry on with the amount of money and the amount of investment and the commitment, again, that we have shown.
Thank you for that. Councillors, may I remind you, this is debate, not questions. And we will probably keep Councillor Sanderson to the end, and you can answer all of the... You can sum up to the debate. Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know if I've been too robust in my opposition, but the leader seems to think I'm criticising when I'm obviously looking to praise in this instance. I mean, just when you're mentioning people to give credit, I would like to mention Janice Rose, who back in, I think it was 2018, I remember speaking to myself and former councillor Seymour and Roughhead, and said that each county is going to get one major project for the Borderlands. And in Northumberland, we like it to be Berwick, because nothing obviously epitomises a border town, the borderlands, than Berwick. And it's a fantastic project, and a lot of work was done in the business case by Janice and others to get where we are today. So it's very positive. I would just say, obviously fully supporting this, it is usual when you have this, and it's Scottish Government and Westminster Government funding, it is usual for the local authority to give some match funding. So this loan is obviously welcome, and I hope that just you bear that in mind, those comments when construction costs and usual little snags. And even if we have to take it from Blythe and Ashington.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Councillor Flower.
Hello, thank you very much indeed. It's nice to hear about all these projects that are going on in Northumberland, but please keep an eye on the rest of Northumberland. I put in for a request for 3 "Do Not Feed the Seagull" signs near the chip shop in Seaton Sluice. And I was told by the council we can't afford to put those signs up. And even if we could, we only have 4 enforcement officers, and they're too busy working in conservative areas to come down to South East Northumberland. So, if you could keep an eye on your spending. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, and enjoy your holiday in China. Councillor Scott. Sorry, Scott Dickinson. Scott.
There we go. Now we know why announcements was cancelled at the beginning, because every reply is an announcement with something in it. But there we go. Obviously, we are fully in support of this. The report made quite clear the internal management of the money. We talked about this at the last month as well. There shouldn't be any misinformation that goes out into the Ashington area that this is depriving them of anything, because actually the officers have been very clear on how that will be repaid when the money arrives. I think this fits lovely in terms of the opportunities for cultural opportunities for Berwick, for children, for adults to have experiences that they wouldn't otherwise have with modern facilities like this, and really aligns with the Combined Authority and the North East Mayor's agenda on culture and tourism, which obviously our leader is part of that cabinet too. So I think it fits nicely. It's a good project, and the officers that have been mentioned for the work they've done previously absolutely deserve the credit for that.
Thank you, Councillor Dickinson. Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you. While I do support the maltings, and of course any project, that brings, such a good thing into the community, I am beginning to see a pattern, and it does concern me. I am concerned for the public, obviously the more on the cost side of things. And what I'm seeing is we're giving this information about how much it would cost us if we said no to the scheme, but we're never given the information, or we don't seem to have the information presented in these reports saying how much it's costing us for the environment of the schemes. So putting these things on hold, how much is it actually costing us as a council versus how much is it costing us, if we said no to the scheme. So we don't seem to have that balance, and it's not transparent to the public. My other concern is it's quite clear from the report that only 2.7 million is required to be able to get the actual full business case, and then maybe the funding for this. And yet we're being asked for more, to move more of this money over, 4.05, which increases the risk, in my view. So just to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nicholson. I was going to cut it off there. I've got the last speaker as Councillor Hunter is from that ward. Councillor Hunter, last speaker on this until I bring Councillor Sanson in.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome this to come forward. It's not just for the Berwick area, it covers a wide area, and it will be a benefit to the economy and businesses in the area, and hopefully this will be seen to support and we can get this over the line.
Thank you, Councillor Hunter. I will now bring Councillor Sanson in to round up the debate.
Thank you very much. Can I particularly thank Councillor Hunter, because she is right to indicate the rich cultural history and the ongoing cultural movement within the town, which is very deep and very rich. And I would also like to thank Scott Dickinson for his support as well. Thank you for that. Turning to the point about your seagulls. I'd like to know which opposite.
He's gone. Feed the seagulls.
Oh, no! Oh, flipping heck.
He's gone to China.
He's gone to China already, okay. Well, he'll never know why. But the serious point again, and I must say this again, when we talk about the data centre campus, it's around the growth fund that we have of £110 million. So every area in the county is going to be eligible to bid into this for any new business or any new job. So it's not just the southeast of the county, it's the whole county. And it's the most fantastic thing that we have here in our grasp to make Northumberland continue to grow. So everyone benefits from it. Now, Georgie, now come on. You know perfectly well that you have consistently said the County Council haven't contributed to this scheme in your various social media thingies. The County Council has contributed to the scheme to the tune of, well, I hope you mention it, 2.3 million approximately we've given so far. Now that is money because we had to find a way to continue to keep the culture programme running in the town while the work was carried out at the Maltings. So this is part of a Renaissance project for the barracks in Berwick, which is a long story which I won't bore you all with now, but there is a big plan to use those former barracks, including the mob store, which has been the recipient of quite a lot of money from us to allow that to continue now as a cinema while the work it goes on in Maltings, but also will be used as a place for us permanently to be able to keep our antiquities. What do we call them?
Archives.
Archives and antiquities. Okay? And I think that is it. Safe to say, don't want you, Mark, for a moment to think for a second that you can go online and say Ashington have lost out this money, because it would be not true. You're not losing a single bean. We're simply moving money around to be able to assist this project to keep on running. And I know you want that. You want culture in Berwick, I'm sure. Yeah, oh, yes, you do. Anyway, we're in the pantomime season already. I know you do. So Ashington and anybody that's anybody that's watching, Ashington will not lose out, I promise you.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Members, we will now go to the vote. Could you show your hand, all those in favour? This vote's been carried. Oh. Yeah. All those against? And abstentions? That's carried. Thank you, councillors. You were near your 3 minutes. In fact, it slightly went over, Glenn, but I'm in a good mood today, so We now move on to item 8 on the agenda, which is annual portfolio report of the Deputy Leader. Before I ask Councillor Wearmouth to speak, members may recall that I sent out an email following the last council meeting concerning the length of time it took to get through the Cabinet members' reports. Whilst it's good that members take a great interest in the content and wish to ask questions, I've been considering how to keep the agenda items to a reasonable time. I would therefore propose to keep questions and their responses to 3 minutes. If this is successful, we may look to modify it in our procedure rules. I would like to thank the input from the group leaders and Councillor Hill for their comments, which I've considered and I will keep under review. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you, Chair.
Clock's running.
Our aim is to make Northumberland the best place we can to train, to work and to set up a business. We can't control what the government does, but we can control what we do and make sure that it's our best, and our best is exceptional. As this report shows, we've generated money for the council, opportunity for residents and reduced inequalities. Progress is easy to find. The Northumberland line is a colossal success. Already reports are imminent on how we can expand it. Now, imagine a council securing a £20 billion investment and receiving £110 million from the developer for the privilege. Well, that's what we did. Blackstone QTS have been a brilliant partner with their AI campus, and construction will start soon at Camas. It's the biggest ever investment in the North East, and that £110 million that we secured is ring-fenced to boost local jobs and the local economy. But what we don't often shout about is that £15 million a year will also come from business rates, half to us and half to the North East Mayor. We will use our half wisely and make the case for the Mayor to do right by us and spend the half that she receives in Northumberland also. Northumberland earned that money, and if our Mayor backs us, we will repay that good faith with the most phenomenal results. So what can you expect from us in the months and years to come? Well, we've got a new local and economic plan refresh that will be key. We've got large employment sites at Linemouth, at West Hertford, that are already attracting investors, so we'll need more employment land. And I want to see some of those more challenging employment sites that we have around the county at places like Haltwhistle and Amble coming to life. We're close to securing, hopefully, Moor Farm improvements. We'll fight for the A1, for the A69 improvements also, for more investment in the Northumberland line, for stopping services on the East Coast Main Line, amongst a whole host of other major improvements. We'll mercilessly promote the county as the best place to live in the UK. Taste of Northumberland will boost our food, beverage and hospitality industry. We'll back our tourist businesses, and we'll pursue inward investment from across the globe. And importantly, we'll keep town centre car parking free, backing our town centre businesses. We'll push the estates team to use scrappy bits of council land for biodiversity offsetting, instead of making money for the council instead of for rich landowners. We want mobile masts on council land, boosting 5G reception across the county, and we'll make an even bigger push in terms of rural business growth and support. And where appropriate, we will use council land deployed in the local plan to provide housing and other opportunities and make sure that the profits are returned to the taxpayer. That's a flavour of ambition, but as we embark on that path, do please keep in mind, regen is done by councils, not because it's easy, but because it's difficult and nobody else can or will do it. We create the plans, we'll build the evidence base, and we'll make the case for investment. There will be challenges ahead, no doubt, but we always put our best foot forward. And with that, I'll take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wearmouth. We now go to questions. Members, do you have any questions? Councillor Rolls. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I've only got a little voice, so I'll try and speak loud. What I'm asking for is fairness within these reports. So what we're looking at is the same as the last report, is the violence spreading the finances between. What we would like to see is some sort of tracker to be able to see where these violence are in lifetime. Maybe a regeneration reserve, so we could have a pot for certain funds, so we're not taking money from one pot to fund another pot on a constant stream all of the time. So that's what I would like to see, is some sort of transparency. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rolls. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you, Councillor Rose. Very wise, and we've done that over the last 4 years. And in the budget, we would hope to replenish the Regen Reserve. It's very useful, and it means that we don't have to borrow out of different pots in year and create the confusion that we've had a little bit earlier on. So very much hoping to achieve that in the next budget. There's a whole load of consultation with members. Make sure that you feed that back to Jan and Alison, and I'm sure that they'll make sure that we've got that pot available. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Wearmouth. Councillor Matheson.
Thank you. Having read the annual portfolio report of the Deputy Leader, thank you, I feel compelled to ask for a greater sense of urgency in allocating resources to the 7 towns under the Borderland Place programme, which in fact you didn't mention just now. We are now 4 years and 8 months into this plan, yet it appears that more has been spent on administration than on actual project delivery. In Hawtwhistle, for example, only 1 project is close to approval, accounting for around 10% of the town's indicative allocation. It would be a travesty if communities like Hawtwhistle are made to wait until 2031 for meaningful investment to appear. Will the Deputy Leader accept that the current process for delivering Borderlands funding is too slow and inadequate, and commit to rebooting the programme so that funds are allocated within the next year and physical investment begins no later than November 2026?
Well said.
Thank you, Councillor Matheson. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, in the 3 minutes, I don't have time to cover everything. I once gave an impromptu speech up in Berwick, and it lasted an hour and a half on Regen, so you consider yourself lucky that you only got 3 minutes. So when it comes to Borderlands, we're frustrated with the pace, with the paperwork, but as I've stood up and mentioned in previous meetings, we also rely on the quality of the projects, the level or the point in which they're sort of in gestation of the projects, and a whole host of other things. So yes, we would love to do things faster as long as the people who can sponsor the projects and the projects are there, and the Regen team have are going as fast as they can. And just to give a little bit of a flavour of some of the things that we've done, Borderlands is made up of almost 2 sets of funding. Council funding, about 9 million or so it is, and Borderlands funding from the Borderland Growth Deal. We're deploying our cash up front earlier to try and get feasibility studies and other studies done so that we can speed up that process and keep away from the laborious Borderlands paperwork, which can then those funds can come in at a later date and provide the bulk of the capital to get things going. Hopefully that helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wearmouth. Councillor Dale.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And once again, a very impressive report. It reminds me of the last one. Can I just ask you, the North East Local Transport Plan, I do know that we did have a meeting some while ago when every area was designated a bus manager for the area, and they would go around saying what type of buses we want. Luckily, we're actually got Kim McGuinness coming to us on Monday, which the member from, the Labour member from Predo has organised, and we have got all the partners coming to discuss what we need in our area, which I think is great, because we're not getting a lot in our area. So that brings me on to Kim McGuinness, and if you look at all these reports, there's an awful lot of money coming from NECA, and I think we should all appreciate input NECA has into this.
Councillor Dale, is there a question there,
yeah,
please?
Could you, I'm just going to ask you, just this minute.
Thank you.
What I was going to ask, could you ask, possibly, if Ms McGuinness would come here and discuss with us, all the council, what work NECA are doing? Because I think we would all appreciate how everybody is working together.
Thank you, Councillor Dale. Councillor Wearmouth.
So thank you, Councillor Dale, and I'm immensely grateful to the last Conservative government for providing all of those funds, for signing the deal, and to the leader for strong-arming the government to give us the best possible opportunity for the North East so that the Mayor can take full advantage of it. I'm always happy to talk to Kim. It's always a pleasure. And ultimately, that's a question for the two organisations, and I'll defer to the leader and allow him to mull that one over as time progresses. But it's an exciting time, and looking forward to seeing what comes out of the local transport plan or the regional transport plan.
Thank you for that, Councillor Wearmouth. I have 6, Ordersley, Robinson, Bridget, Swinburne, Davidson and Sheldon, and I will be calling it time after those. Councillor Alderby. Oh, not you, Paul.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Thank you for naming New Biggin in the section of the report that discusses extending the Northumberland line. And I know that there was somebody from NECA at the last Borderlands meeting who came to discuss just that topic. If it is found to be feasible, would the council commit to supporting the extension into New Biggin of the Northumberland line?
Councillor Wearmouth.
So, thank you, Councillor. Yes, absolutely. We're committed to trying to make it work. I know that the Combined Authority is committed to it. There's a report that's coming soon that's looking at opportunities across Northumberland and along the Northumberland line. We wait to see what that says, and then we'll be identifying the next steps. But New Biggin is firmly on the radar.
Thank you, Councillor Wearmouth. Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. Richard, Glenn, you keep talking about this £110 million with the data centre for the Economic Investment Fund, or whatever you want to call it. And you're holding it up as some sort of panacea, but the money doesn't come all at once, so can you explain the incremental nature of it? There's criteria behind it for spending that money. Can you explain that? There's projects, I believe, in the pipeline that we've never heard about. So can you explain how we can access that fund to bring projects into our areas?
Thank you, Councillor Robinson. It's Councillor Wearmouth that's giving the report. It'll be Councillor Wearmouth who answers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll try to find the best answer that I can. Yes, you're right. It comes in tranches, and the faster that they build out, the faster that funding comes in. I think that the hope is from Blackstone QTS that they complete by 2030-ish or 31, give or take. So by that point, all of that funding would have come in. Of course, once they're up and running, the business rates come in as well. The business rates that I mentioned in the report, 15 million when it's built out in total. That has to be linked, the spend from both sides, from ours and the Mayor, has to be linked with the investment zone in which the building is located and the general purposes of it. So it's not specific to the geography, but it does have to be spent on themes associated with it. Where you've got projects that you want to flag up to us, flag them up, and we'll see what we can do. You've seen the report on what we call the GIF, which is that 110 million. A whole host of things that are identified in there, one of which is buying more land and making sure that we've got the platform for continued growth. There's stuff in there about creating a fund, about assisting businesses looking to make inward investment and so on and so forth. So there's a whole host of stuff in there. If I haven't covered it all, write to me and I'll send something back to you, Malcolm.
Thanks, Councillor Wearmouth. Councillor Bridget.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I will dress this up as a question because I'm required to do so. But far be it for me to come to the defence of Councillor Wearmouth, but on this occasion I'm actually going to. And in terms of the Borderlands, because nobody has been as critical of the slow pace that the Borderlands has taken over recent years. But we are starting to see a little breakthrough in Rothbury, and that's thanks to Advanced Northumberland coming on board. But I think, and this is the question I'm going to put to Councillor Wearmouth, I think one of the biggest problems with Borderlands, and I'm looking for your opinion on this, is that in some local communities, it's been hard for them to distinguish between the actual economic criteria of Borderlands and some of the social aspect of things they want to do with the funding, which is quite restrictive.
Thank you, Councillor Bridget. Councillor Wearmouth.
Yes, so absolutely. That's a part of the problem of Borderlands, which is it's for very specific things. So when communities get told, oh, you're getting potentially up to £3 million to spend in your community, it has to tie in with the growth aspirations that you've been given the money for in the first place, and that can be quite frustrating. I enjoyed the last meeting up in Rothbury. I thought it was a good discussion. I thought that there was the opportunities that were opening up there. Councillor Bridget, definitely. And I come back to that bit what I mentioned earlier, which is about having the institutions, though. And that's the other thing that some of the smaller communities, and Rothbury has a little bit of that sort of issue, which is unless you've got a sponsor of some sort, whether it's a development trust or Advance or the county council or the town council, it is proving a little bit difficult sometimes to get things moving, but we will get there.
Thank you, Councillor Wearmouth. Councillor Swinburne.
Thank you, Chair. I want to pick up on the North East Local Transport Plan, as has been mentioned. I'll refer to my previous question with regards to Moor Farm. And in your response, you did mention about the national highways, sort of having a left hand and right hand, and everyone will be familiar about me banging the drum with regards to Moor Farm, which I go on about repeatedly. And it says the Mayor's ambition for a connected transport network. So we've got 7 authorities in the combined authority, and I'm going to ask, I've got 2 questions on here. I'm going to ask firstly, can we get the Mayor to get behind this as well on behalf of the 7 authorities to basically try and get, as we said, one of the partner bodies of National Highways to get the left hand to speak to the right hand, which might be extremely difficult because that doesn't seem to work, but also with regards to Network Rail. So for a connected transport network, we've got a fantastic response on the rail line that we've got running up by the coast, you know, the Northumberland line, which is doing amazing, over 700,000 so far. And on the East Coast, we're banging our heads against a brick wall to try and get a better service, and it's more expensive up there, and so on and so on. Why can't we have that same sort of service on the East Coast main line? And we're looking for a good connected, you know, northeast response, but we've got a brilliant service on one side and we haven't on the other side. So basically, Cramlington, Morpeth, etc. wants that better service, that Ashington, everyone is getting up that side. That's my question.
Thank you, Councillor Swinburne. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you. So, yes, we're on with both those points. We've actually got a really good relationship with the North East Combined Authority in pushing for improvements at Moor Farm and Seaton Burn. I think that we're more hopeful on Moor Farm than we are at Seaton Burn at the moment, if I'm frank about it. The bit that I'll revisit what my answer to you earlier, which is what I would really like to see is all of those parties and organisations that have an interest in getting it improved as quickly as possible, that we pull together some sort of package that stops National Highways saying, oh, yeah, see you in 2031, because that's not a good enough answer. It's stopping economic growth. It's stopping housing growth in places for Northumberland, for North Tyneside, and for Newcastle, and it has to come to a conclusion as quickly as possible. We've outlined today an opportunity. We'll make sure we link with the Mayor, and hopefully she sees logic in that, and hopefully between us all we can convince National Highways of that. In terms of the East Coast Main Line, historically, under Restore Your Railways, we put in a request for what we call a sort of semi-fast train stopping between from Newcastle and Edinburgh. It was going to improve services up and down the line, including Cramlington, but also places like Pegswood, where you're lucky if you see, I think it's two trains a day. If you miss one, you ain't getting home. And then what do you do? But similarly in Berwick, where we would love to see some evolution of the evening and nighttime economy, it's in a fantastic place where it could have better links with both Newcastle and Edinburgh and become a real hub, a real interesting and vibrant place, more so than it is already, if only we could achieve that. So we will put that forward with the help of the Combined Authority. We think that we've got the pathways, and I've got LNER and other operators agreeing to help link up with that plan, and in the hope that we can get some better services in Cramlington. I would note, I think it's TransPennine are already adding services into Cramlington, but it's not nearly enough. We want more.
Thanks, Councillor Wearmouth. Councillor Davidson.
Thank you, Chair. And this is to Councillor Wearmouth. You mentioned about the mobile installations. I just wondered, because there's a lot of installations going on in one of my villages at the moment, and the broadband ones apparently don't need planning permission. Does the same apply to the mobile installations?
Thank you, Councillor Davidson.
Thank you.
Councillor Wearmouth.
I'm going to ever so slightly defer to Nick, who's whispering in my ear that it's all right, that they do require planning permission. But in terms of what we're trying to do, and it was something that we'd done at the end of the last administration, we had all of the bin lorries, or a number of bin lorries hooked up with a little black box, and as they traversed all the way up and down the county, they worked out where we had signal and where we didn't. And our hope is that we can push the likes of Vodafone E and all of the others to say, look, here's the gaps in our service, here's a piece of council land, subject to it being appropriate according to the planners. Would you maybe like to lease that piece of land off us and pay us a bit of money and improve the service and put some revenue into the council? So that works ongoing, and we had a connectivity summit the other day. It went really well, and I know that that was shared by colleagues, and we'll keep making that push. But in answer to the specific question, they do need planning permission, yes.
Thank you, Councillor Wearmouth. Last one, Councillor Eva Sheldon. It is your turn now.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I stood very early that's one. Yes, my question is based on the observation that this QTS investment is the most significant investment we ever had in the region. It's not just the largest investment, but also it's very impactful in medium, long term. So much so, our own Prime Minister wanted to claim credit for it soon after he entered the Downing Street. Yes, yeah, okay. So from my professional observation is that with QTS as the center, we can develop a nice artificial AI hub around it. And this will have a significant impact on not only on employment, but also in the university research and everything. Fortunately, we have got lots of funds. Our mayor has got lots of funds specifically for this purpose. AI growth fund or something like that, a significant amount of money. So my question is, as a council, are we approaching the mayor, discussing with the mayor? If so, what is the response, if I may ask? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, we're talking to the Mayor on a semi-regular basis about this. As I say, there are funds that come with the business rates and so on and so forth. We would very much hope that those would be deployed in county and making sure that we anchor Northumberland as the home of AI, so that all the AI, when you ring the phone or whatever at the moment and you hear an American accent, instead you're going to hear an Ashington or a Bedlington or a Blythe accent. And just maybe we'll be able to achieve that. It's a fantastic opportunity in all seriousness, and we just can't wait to see it get going. And we will do everything that we can to make it a success, and we'll be knocking on the door of every department down in Westminster saying, do you remember that we've been identified as an AI growth zone? What are you going to do for us? What are you going to do for us on skills, on making sure that all of our kids in this county are kitted up to take advantage of this exciting new AI robotics future, which is here already. It's not even in the future, it's here now.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Wearmouth. Sorry, Councillor Spadell, you put your hand up after I said I was taking the next 6, so sorry about that. Item 9 on the agenda, report of Cabinet Member for Finance and Value for Money. Councillor Oliver, present this report.
Thank you, Chair. I'll keep this brief to allow more time for questions. I'll start with saying that the budget process is well underway, and thank the officers in the finance team and the officers in every single department for sort of wholeheartedly getting involved in this very challenging process. And it's always a challenging process, but we will deliver a balanced budget in February. Even after losing the Rural Services Delivery Grant last year, we're calling now on the government not to remove our remoteness funding. The County Council's network has recently written to MHCLG to make that request, and I hope that Joe Morris and David Smith, who represent two of the most rural constituencies in the country, will support this request and object strongly if the government tries to make any changes. We expect the results of the Fair Funding Review at the end of November. The report notes that we are operating within a very challenging environment, and we have strong pressure on adults and children's social care. We've got the inflationary pressures of employers' NI and other things. And we've got, it seems, a government that doesn't really care too much for rural areas. That said, we are focused on delivering better frontline services more efficiently. And the BEST programme is proving to be a huge success, and we've still got much more to deliver. We remain focused, as we've heard several times already, on delivering a stronger economy, and we're very proud of the many projects, including the Northumberland Line, the QTS development in Camas, and the 110 million that will bring to create jobs right across the county. We'll also, as we've heard, be focusing on delivering rural connectivity. And if any of you members representing rural or otherwise wards have concerns about your connectivity, broadband and mobile signals, please get in touch. More better paid jobs will make a big difference to all of our communities, but we'll also continue to do everything we can to support the families who need our help the most. Our community's first approach to local delivery is really making a difference. We've invested in schools to make sure that children growing up in Northumberland get the best start in life, and we're doing all we can to improve the public health in our county, including investing in leisure centres, something that no other councils are really doing. It's important to note that many of our residents also work for the council. 82% of council staff live in our county, and we must make sure that we provide the tools that they need to do the best possible job and deliver excellent services for the rest of the residents, and we're determined to do that. Members, we will continue to work for residents in all corners of our county, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Councillor Over. Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for that succinct report. Just actually a very simple, fundamental question. What is apparent, particularly to those in the sector, but there's increasing newspaper articles about it, that a lot of local authorities are teetering on the brink, particularly unitary authorities not being able to meet the, as you mentioned, social care, huge costs. And some residents are starting to ask and say things, how robust is our authority? So the simple question is, what reassurance can you give to residents that we are not going to be one of these councils that are facing some sort of intervention?
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Councillor Oliver.
I think I can probably sort of give you reassurance on three fronts. First of all, the finances of this council are managed very prudently. We're in a relatively healthy position. It's tough. It's tough for all councils to deliver, particularly on revenue budgets. But we have managed over the last 8 years the council's finance. When we became the administration in 2017, debt was rising very quickly, and it was forecast to grow by to 1.4 billion. We didn't let that happen. So we've been very careful with the council's finances. The teams in the high spending areas are working very proactively to try and manage the demand and provide early intervention in services to make sure that the more expensive delivery of services later on doesn't occur insofar as possible. So I think they're the sort of main things, but we are in a healthy position. We will deliver a balanced budget, and then next year we'll actually deliver on that budget.
Thanks, Councillor Over. Councillor Dickinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You did miss us in the last report, so that's unfortunate, I'm sure.
Sorry about that.
Councillor Oliver, I did forget what it was like to listen to you Twitter on for a little while, especially with your fictitious, strange analogies of some of the content of the report, but also referring to a previous report that Councillor Wearmouth just delivered, where we were talking about a whole range of projects that had millions and millions of pounds of government money in, of combined authority money in, of national lottery money in, of lots of other people. And there's this desperation for some strange reason to try and claim council finances are providing it all when they're not. But to work in partnership, these organisations wouldn't give you the money if they didn't think the council had robust processes to deliver the projects. And actually, we've all championed all of these projects that many of us have all been part of along the way because they take so long to get there. So this desperation just needs to stop in terms of trying to mismanage the information that goes out there to the public.
Is there a question there, Councillor?
Yes, I'm coming to it, John, but you didn't pick us last time, so bear with. In here, there is a whole range of best programme savings, and I still believe, and I've said it multiple councils before, that best is not as open and transparent as I'd like it to be. We don't see enough information about what some of these headlines that relate to some of the services mean. I'm actually welcoming any savings that can be made in a way that doesn't affect residents, that doesn't affect frontline services, that we can tidy up the back house or do whatever we need to do. But we need to be made confident that what we are doing and these numbers that you attribute to a headline, what does that actually mean? It needs to be more transparent, and that would be the only ask I would have from the report. Thank you, Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Councillor Dickinson. Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Councillor Dickinson. Well, first of all, I didn't say that all of the money that we were spending was council money, and but it does take an ambitious council to develop the plans and secure the external funding from other people. And as Councillor Sanderson has already said, we have delivered a lot on that front, and we will continue to do that. In terms of the best savings, I'm very happy to sit down with you and go through it in detail. We have taken regular reports to scrutiny committees. There's been reports to the audit committee, and I think there's been reports to full council. But if there are any specifics that you want to know more about, we'd be very happy to share that and that information. There's a very detailed plan for delivering the best. And the best is about delivering things more efficiently. It's not simply about saving money, it's trying to improve service at the same time.
Right, Councillor Oliver. Councillor Spridell.
Thank you, Chair. I had a question that was missed before and I missed an opportunity, but I may have an opportunity to get it in now. I note from the portfolio report that there's been a saving of £542,000 on home-to-school transport following the review. I'd like to draw the attention to the fact that the 434 bus service from Bedlington Station to Widrington coming back via Camas has been almost axed. And there's only one bus that gets children to school in Bedlington Station, and that's at 8:05 from Camas. This week, the new timetable ran, and in 3 days, the people have had to wait over 2.5 hours to catch the buses. Going back from school, returning home, there's one bus at 3:15, the next one's at 5:45. There's no scope for children or students to stay on at school and do extracurricular studies. It's unfair, it's unreasonable, it's picking on the least able to afford their own transport. The 434 bus service was hailed as the new Northumberland line link, linking Widrington, Ashington and Bedlington stations. It was introduced as an hourly service and is now being axed. The station at Bedlington is not due to open until February, and now the links from the local...
question there, Councillor.
Yes. Can we take this forward by getting funding from NECA or from the BIS scheme to support the reintroduction of the hourly service on the 434 route?
Thank you, Councillor Spridell. I'm not sure whether that is covered in the report.
I can give first of all, what was referred to in the report was home-to-school transport, and this isn't a home-to-school transport bus. But I understand it was one of the questions that you submitted in writing before the meeting, and there has been a written response developed, which you'll get, I imagine, probably tomorrow. So, and then I'm sure you can liaise directly with the portfolio holders on that when you get that response.
Sorry, Councillor.
I was going
Sorry,
to...
Councillor. You will get a written report because that was for your question that you had.
The question I wanted to ask was to Councillor Wearmouth, actually.
Yes, but this is the report which
yeah, but
Councillor Oliver was
picked up
giving.
on the
As I
system.
say, you put it...
Yeah.
You put
We'll talk about it afterwards.
Yes, we will move on. We now move on to item 10 on the agenda, which is report of the Cabinet Member for Children's Services. I would like to invite Councillor Runner Thompson to give this report.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I'm not going to go through the report line by line because I'm sure you've all read it and had plenty of time to read it. But just a brief overview of the department. So there are around 60,000 children in Northumberland that ultimately we are responsible for, you are all responsible for, as councillors and as corporate parents. 40-odd thousand children are at school, the rest are split between they're either in preschool or they're not at school yet, or they're at school or college, and they're at sixth form or college, sorry, and the council has a part to play in every single part of your life journey. From our family hubs, when if you're expecting a baby, you go in and they tell you what to do once the baby's born, right the way through to school leavers and beyond, because we do have post-16 and post-18 education training in the council. And if you're not a young person, most of you are either a parent, a carer, a granny, a grandpa, an auntie, uncle, so it impacts every single person in the county. Of those 60-something thousand children, 500 of those are our looked-after children, and those 500 children use more council resources and more council staff than all the other children put together. And that is only the correct thing to do, because they are our most vulnerable people in society. So I like to split our department between education and children's social care. Education has far more children in it, but children's social care is equally, if not more, important, because if we don't get those children's lives right at the very, very beginning, they won't lead on to have good lives once they've grown up. Our ambition for the county is that children will have a fantastic education here. They will then go on to a fantastic job, as pointed out by Councillor Wearmouth, and all that money and all that happiness will stay here, and our young people won't have to leave to go to London or Manchester or even into Newcastle or somewhere like that. And we're doing that by rigorously enforcing standards. In the last year, we didn't have a single school Ofsted that wasn't rated good or outstanding. We're up to 95% good or outstanding in our schools, which is still the highest in the region. Yes, not all of those schools are council schools. We have a mix of academy schools and religious schools and local authority schools. But we put the money into the school improvement team to make that happen. And we don't care if a school is a local authority school or an academy school. They are all Northumberland children. On that vein, that's why we've spent an absolute fortune on the school estate since 2017. The examples in the report are Berwick and Amble, which are ongoing. But you find me a local authority which has built or is in the process of building 5 new high schools in the, since 2017. It's pretty much unheard of. 6 if you include the new high school in Cramlington, which is a DFE build, but we did ask them for the money, and the former MP is up there and he did an awful lot of asking for the money for new Cramlington High School as well. Over £350 million has come into this county in new build, either the council spending our own money or us going to government and asking for money. For example, the new college campus in Ashington, something that we have really pushed for. So I'll leave it there so that you can ask as many questions as as the chair will allow you to, but I really just wanted to put across what an important department we have here in Children's Services and how much the administration cares about children across Northumberland.
Thank you, Councillor Runner Thompson. Councillor Fairless-Aiken.
Thank you, Chair. I recently had the opportunity to walk around our family hub in Hexham, and it's fabulous. The work they do there for our young people is absolutely amazing. Following post-COVID recovery for our young people, they find that the 3 factors that most affect concentration spans and their progress through education are vapes, energy drinks, and thirdly and finally, smartphones. Would this council consider a dialogue or an educational campaign around the use of smartphones in our schools, limiting either their use or the type of phone that is used with both academies and our local authority schools? I think it's a conversation that needs to happen, if not an education campaign, to make parents and schools more aware of their responsibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Runner Thompson.
Thank you, Councillor. It's a very worthy topic of discussion. I value the independence of our schools, and I value that school governors and school leaders being able to make their own decisions without the council imposing things on them. However, I think this sounds like an excellent topic for facts scrutiny, and the chairman is nodding his head over there to really do a deep dive into the topic. A, to look at the pros and cons of those things, and B, to look at what powers the council would actually have to make those changes, because in some schools we would have authority to do that, in some schools we wouldn't.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Sim.
With regards to the school admissions, you say that 97.68% of primary and 97.25% of secondary get the first choice. I have put a few complaints in from parents regarding lack of places in schools. I've gotten data from the Education Department which indicates year 6, 7, 8 and 9 are all fully subscribed in Ashington. You've got 10-year-old children having to travel an 11-mile round trip to Blythe without even getting any transport provision. Looking at the waiting list numbers, I know you said that a lot of it's down to the parents being applying late or moving into the area. There should be some sort of contingency plan in place to allow for this. You've also got a waiting list of up to 28 children for I think it's year 6. And waiting to go on the waiting list, so you have got a large number on waiting lists as well, which indicates there is a problem. And that problem is going to be for at least another 4 years. I know you say the birth rates drop,
Councillor,
but
have we got a question, please?
yes, what you're going to do, like, to combat this problem, because you seem to be burying your head, but not and blaming it on birth rates dropping and things like that. But that's not addressing the situation. So what are you going to do to invest to ensure there's places?
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Rana Thompson.
Yes, so you've raised this with us before, Councillor. The high school in Ashington is an academy and they can set their own admissions criteria. Before you were elected, we had an awful lot of dialogue with them because they were taking children from outside of the local area from their academy feeder schools instead of taking children from within the Ashington catchment. So we got them to change that policy. So we can have that, we will continue to have that dialogue with them. What I've been advised by officers is the issue isn't the physical capacity. The school buildings are big enough to take these extra children. We just need to have that discussion with the school about how they utilise their space, whether they want to take these extra children or so on. But as you've rightfully pointed out, across the county as a whole, 99% actually get their first plus second preferences of first choices. So across Northumberland, it's a figure that we do very, very well on. Part of it is that because of falling birth rates in schools that were built a long time ago, where there used to be 100 kids in my first school, for example, and now there's only 20. But we do very well on that compared to our comparative councils, but there is a specific issue in Ashington, which I know about, and which I'll be very happily to work with you on going into the future.
Thank you, Councillor. I have Councillor Dickinson, Ball, Hunter and Nicholson, and I think we'll close the questions after that. Councillor Dickinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Councillor Rana Thompson. It's a really good report, and it's great to see some of the achievements in there that relate to specifically around schools. So here's just something to say thank you to all the teaching staff and support staff who deliver those results that are mentioned in there every day. I was really pleased to join some of the team at one of the family hubs around the new Trailblaze work. I think that new government initiative is going to be really good for some of the coastal and more deprived areas that need some of that investment. But I was also a little bit surprised to learn of a potential school closure in the Prudhoe Mickley area that kind of just popped up. I appreciate it's a academy trust, but I wondered, does the department, does the council need to do more so we are forewarned or have some kind of system that allows us to know potentially which schools are at risk or which academies are thinking of changing schools or whether we're looking at closing any schools, because it does make a difference in the communities and we want communities to feel like they can participate in them openly without feeling like it's just being sprung on them.
Thank you, Councillor Dickinson. Councillor Rana Thompson.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Dickinson. You are correct about the family hub work, and we applied for Trailblazer on that a few years ago. We were exemplar council, and we opened the first family hubs basically in Northumberland, and that work has carried on and has been copied across the country by the new government. So they're obviously listening to what we're doing and copying it, which is fantastic. On your point about Prudhoe and Mickley, obviously the consultation is still ongoing, so I can't say too much about it. It's up to the academies how they put information out there with their parents. They did let myself and other local members know what they were going to propose before they told the general public, but it wasn't that much longer before they told the general public. So, if any of the Academy Trust CEOs are listening, I would happen to agree with you. As much forewarning to the council as possible would be nice. We do talk with them on a regular basis. We have regular roundtable meetings with Academy Trust CEOs and senior members of staff at the council. So we will make that point to them. But on that particular closure, we will wait and see what the consultation results come out from the members of the public.
Thank you, Councillor Rana-Thompson. Councillor Ball.
Thank you, Chair. So page 63, 8.6, with regards to free school meals, where we at with auto-enrolment and ensuring that every child that is entitled to a free school meal is getting that free school meal, and also that the funds that go, especially for the younger age group, are getting that extra support as well. Are we using the LIFT tool to make sure that every family and low income is getting identified and are getting the help and support that they need? And also on 8.8, on the same page with regards to services being under pressure, this has come year on year on year. We know things are under pressure. What is the plan to make sure that something's going to happen? Instead of measuring that it's getting worse, we need, we've discussed in corporate parenting, that we need a spend to save model. We're just complaining that it's getting worse. We're blaming the government now. We blame the government for the previous 14 years. We need a plan as councillors to make sure that these children and families in Northumberland, we can't just say, yeah, well, it's getting worse. We can't blame the academies or take the credit when they're doing good. We need a plan in Northumberland. So what is it? Because at the moment, all I'm seeing is annual reports that say it's getting worse.
Thank you, Councillor Ball. Councillor Rana-Thompson.
So thank you, Councillor Ball. On your point about free school meals, we've already brought in auto-enrolment, which has brought in an extra £1 million of funding to schools in Northumberland this year. So that has been a great success. On the LIFT tool, which you mentioned, I know that was in your written question to me, so you'll get a written answer. But the basic answer is yes, we are using it. We have used it to identify families in need, and that's part of the Family Hub work, and it seems to be working particularly well. So onto special educational needs, we do have a plan. So 97% of the 10,000 children that we have with special needs are being looked after and getting the required level of support. The other 3%, we end up in mediation. Of that 3%, less than 0.7% end up at tribunal. Our EHCP plans within the 20 weeks, we've gone from 50-something% to 75%. So improvements are being made. But that 75% figure I'm still not happy with. We want to get that closer up to 100%. In terms of concrete plans, I have asked Councillor Oliver for more money in next year's budget for more educational psychologists. So the educational psychologists are the gatekeepers of the SEND system, as you like. And if we get another 3 of those, I believe we've asked for, we'll be able to speed up the process and give more children the support they need. We've also talked about the capital investment in new special schools. We've got a new special school going in at Berwick. We've put one in at Amble. We've got one in Blythe. We've got family support services going in, primary support bases, going in all over the county. So we're doing what we can. You made the point about the government. We're looking very closely at what SEND reforms the government are planning to bring in. It has been reported that they're looking to watering down their rather drastic proposals that we saw in draft form, but until we see those proposals, we don't know how we're going to react. But I get emails on almost a daily or weekly basis from national campaign groups looking very closely at what's happening in the House of Commons, and as soon as we know, we will reply to you, but it has already been delayed several times.
Thank you, Councillor Renner-Thompson. You were just hitting your 3-minute mark. Councillor Hunter.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Renner-Thompson's probably covered part of the question I'm going to ask. EHCPs, there's a lot of hard work goes in by the schools, the parents, agencies, but there seems to still be a delay of the process of coming out. Schools is often putting in support to help these children that need that help without getting the funding through and waiting on the funding. Is there any way we can try and speed this process up to help these children? They need the help because that makes a better life and better outcome for them.
Thank you, Councillor Hunter. Councillor Renner-Thompson.
Yeah, I agree, Councillor Hunter, and you're a school governor and a very effective one at that. So you know a lot about this topic, and we've discussed it before. And I'll refer you to my previous answer that we are putting measures in place, or hopefully putting measures in place that will see more staff in that team to be able to process the EHCP plans quicker.
Thank you, Councillor Renner-Thompson. Councillor Nicholson, and that's the last one before we move on.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. My question replicated Councillor Ball's, so I'll retract. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Nicholson. In that case, Councillor Dale, I will take your question.
I was just going to mention, Councillor, that you very kindly mentioned about the closure or possibility or the actual ongoing consultation in Predo. And I've been there a long, long time. I've been in government and goodness knows what. I'd just like to say that actually the County Council officers have been very supportive. They've been very knowledgeable. And I would like them so far to say thank them for their input. It gives me some absolute, I feel happier that they're there and I can say thank you to them.
Thank you for that question, Councillor Dale. Councillor Renner-Thompson, do you want to reply to the question?
Thank you, Councillor Dale. We'll pass that on to the team.
Item number 11 on the agenda, which is the annual report from the Audit and Standards Committee. As the Chair is not a council member, I would like to invite Councillor Dale to present the report of the Independent Chair of Audit and Standards Committee, Peter Topping. So Councillor Dale will present the report written by Peter Topping. Councillor Dale.
First of all, I'm a little bit concerned because actually on the previous page, it's options open to the Council and reasons for the recommendation. And I'm not sure if Councillor Oliver is meant to be making that recommendation, which is you've got two options. And you've got to do one or the other. So it's not you can't get out of it. So it's on page 68 at the top. So at the very beginning, on the page before, it says report from Audit Committee to Council, Councillor Oliver, Nick Oliver, Councillor Mensmer. When you go over the page, it says the options open to the Council. So what I am providing is the annual report from the Audit Committee to the Council, which you either have the option to agree or not to agree.
Okay, Councillor Dale, if you make the if you give the report, I will make the recommendation at the end. We'll do a sort of a double act.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. The Audit Committee in local government are there to provide independent assurance on behalf of the Council on the government's framework in place within the organisation. Recognised best practice requires that Audit Committee prepare an annual report for consideration by full Council. This is it. As Vice Chair, I'm pleased to present the annual report on behalf of Peter Topping, who is the Independent Co-opted Chair, who is not present today. The report summarises the work of the Audit Committee during the year in accordance with the agreed work programme and terms of reference. Audit Committee acts apolitically and considers and challenges 56 reports during the year, covering all aspects of the Council's framework of governance, risk management and control. Acting as Group Audit Committee, reports relating to Advanced Northumberland were also considered with the Advanced Northumberland officers attending, Group Audit Committee and the Independent Chair of Audit Committee attending meetings of Advanced Northumberland Audit Committee 2. In terms of best practice, Audit Committee undertakes an annual self-assessment against best practice, and our arrangements reflect all good practice areas recommended by CIPFA, and that's very important to our committee. Our independent chair also attends a regional North East Audit Committee Chairs Forum supported by the LGA. I'd like to say thank you to our chairman, Peter Topping, but also to Stuart Green and Jim Hanna, our independent co-opted members, and this, remember, is up to March 25. To all elected members who served on the committee, it's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of hard work, but thank you very much. And also to all the members and officers who also attend the Audit Committee and supported its work during the year. Thank you. And just for information about the accounts and whether we're ongoing, we do have to take a consideration of going concern status within audit, which reflects that this council is still ongoing viably. So that is actually in the report. It's not in this report, but it is mentioned.
Thank you, Councillor Dale. If any members have any questions, these will be best answered by the Chair, who will then respond in writing, and these will be published within the minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now move on to item 12 on the agenda, which...
It's
just a note.
Sorry.
No?
Note.
It's option 1 or 2.
Yeah.
That's note.
Yeah, it's not a vote. It's just, do we agree to note? Agreed.
That's it.
Yeah. We now move on to item 12 on the agenda, which is a report of the... We now move on to item 12 on the agenda, which is a report of the Chief Executive, interim overview and scrutiny report of the Family and Children's Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Members, this is the first of 4 interim reports from the Overview and Scrutiny Committees. I'm trying to spread the work across the year, so we will see the other reports come to future meetings one at a time. I would like to invite Councillor Daly to present the report. Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Chair. And just to reiterate what you've just said there, this is an interim report from our Scrutiny Committee. And for the benefit of those new councillors in the chamber, chairs and vice chairs bring scrutiny reports, interim reports and full scrutiny reports to full council. So there is full transparency over what we do as a council and how we use our scrutiny function to actually improve performance and to do detailed work between our officers, between elected members and those in our community. And again, for the benefit of new members, detailed policy developments and details of how scrutiny process work is contained within page 86 to 88 of the report, which is in front of you. And it really does demonstrate how you can use scrutiny as an effective tool to improve council performance. Apart from presenting this report, Chair, I just very quickly want to remind members that apart from my role as chairing the Family and Children's Services Scrutiny Committee, I also chair the Joint Scrutiny Committee, which is made up of all of our scrutiny chairs and vice chairs. And I can tell you now, we have some very robust discussions in that group about how we use scrutiny to increase performance, to increase outcomes for our community. So I just want to give that assurance that in terms of our scrutiny chairs, we are absolutely on the ball when it comes to looking at what this council is doing and how we can work together to improve things. So this report, Chair, is a look back at what we've done over the past few months. Facts for those, again, new councillors is quite unique because we are the only scrutiny committee which has on it, apart from elected members, we also have representation from our trade union partners, from our church schools and from our school representatives. They bring in a wealth of experience into our scrutiny function and bring their very detailed knowledge to help improve the things that we do as a council. So I just want to very quickly run through a couple of things because I know you will have read this in detail. So the Children's Social Care Report is a robust document. You will know that we are heavily regulated within children's services by Ofsted and others. But the team do more than that. They don't just rely on somebody coming in, they do their own self-assessments. And I can tell you now, there's been no shocks. Our self-assessments very much echo what our external partners tell us. And that's good or outstanding. So we have an excellent team who provide very robust self-assessment and again, when we brought this to committee, that was very much the feeling of members, that we have a staff, a directorate, who know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it. The Northumberland Skills was rated as good, with many outstanding equalities identified. And where we have been told we can improve things, we will work as a scrutiny committee with officers and with other members to actually ensure that we achieve that next golden goal, which is to move us from good to outstanding, which I'm sure we will. And finally, the school improvement team, which has been alluded to by Councillor Renner-Thompson. It's improving education across our county. 2017, I can tell you now, we were a failing authority. We were in the lowest of the low. And now we've got 95% of our schools are good or outstanding. We have a fantastic school improvement team who are out and about working with our maintained schools, our academy partners, our special schools. They provide the advice, the guidance that they need. And it is absolutely mission critical to improving the lives of our young people in this county. The sad thing is that the government cut the funding for them. But through scrutiny and through the work that Guy Renner-Thompson did, Cabinet listened to us, and we've continued the funding of the school improvement team as a local authority, and that needs to be commended. So thank you, Guy, for doing that. Going forward, we've got some really exciting pieces of work around special education needs, early years, school placement and organisation, and we've got some good work being led by Councillor Michaela Horncastle, who's our Vice Chair, who's leading on some of our task and finish work. So I would just like to end, if I can, please, by a big thank you to Sean Nicholson and Rebecca Greeley, who are our scrutiny officers, to the Children's Services team led by Audrey Kingham, who do an amazing job, to our staff, to our parents, to our students who onto our schools, who will do incredible work. And the challenge is in the report on the last page. If you have got a scrutiny item that you want us to discuss, please don't wait to come to full council to have a whinge. Bring it to me, bring it to your vice chair, or bring it to Rebecca. If it's an item we'll put on scrutiny, we will happily do it. But don't wait for full council to do it. Let's get things done, let's work together and continue to improve and make this, as it is, an outstanding council. So I'll present the report, if I can, Mr Chair, to council, and I'll take any questions.
Thanks, Councillor Daly. Do we have any? Councillor Fairless-Aiken.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you, the Chair of the Facts Committee as well as the officers. It is a really good and robust committee. It's quite dynamic. We're very passionate about
One second,
young
you
people.
stand when you've asked
Oh,
the
sorry, I completely forgot. I was too excited. Sorry. We did ask for the SIPS money last time to be continued, and that was going to be my question. Councillor Daly has answered it. I'm absolutely thrilled that that has been continued by you guys. Thank you so much. As someone wise once said, the cost of education may be great, but the cost of ignorance is greater. And that's testimony to that. Thank you.
Well said. I can't see any other hands raised, so we will move on. Thank you. Item 13 on today's agenda is a report of political proportionality. Members, this is the usual report brought to the Council when we have to review proportionality on committees due to changes in political groups. Members, please note that we are agreeing the framework only and not the final detail. Group leaders will notify appropriate nominations to the monitoring officer following the meeting. The basis on this, or the formula of which these figures have been agreed, are those which have been agreed at Council and confirmed at the AGM 2025. I will move this report from the Chair. Could I have a seconder, please? Seconded. Can we confirm this? Well, no, it's a Sunderland supporter, better go. Can we confirm this is agreed? Agreed. Thank you for that. The next item on today's agenda, item number 14, is a report of the Acting Returning Officer and relates to a recent review of polling places and polling districts. The report is self-explanatory and there has been extensive informal and formal consultation on this matter. Essentially, there has been a review following the May elections, taking into account feedback received from a number of stakeholders and it is proposed that there are 13 changes. This is a matter reserved to full council, and again, I will move it from the chair. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, councillor. Would any members wish to speak? No.
Councillor Dickinson.
Yeah. Councillor Dickinson.
Just a very quick one. So there's a couple of places missing off the thing, spreadsheet. I couldn't think of the word.
Thing?
Is the person that was brought in to manage elections still here? Maggie, I think she was called. Do we contact her about errors on that? Simple yes or no will be sufficient.
Yes. Councillor Felicity.
Thank you. Following the May elections, we did notice, obviously, there were a lot of changes to the polling stations themselves, and we're desperate to get people to vote, as you know. So what was happening on the day was that people were turning up at the old stations, despite our comms, despite us telling people and in the press. What would be really helpful is just signage. So, you know, on the ones that aren't being used, to point people to where they're meant to be voting. That was not apparent on the day, and the Town Council in Hexham certainly stepped in to do that with ours. If that could be done county-wide, because not everyone, the comms don't reach everyone.
Yeah, I think that we thought that it had all been done, but that will be noted, councillor. Thank you for that. We will. Sorry. Please have agreed. We will now go to the vote. All those in favour? I think that's carried. Thank you, councillors. The final item on today's agenda is Constitution Update Report. Members, again, I will move this from the chair. You will see the amendments to the two committees have been through the consultation working group, and they had a very good discussion on that, who have recommended the approval, and the amendment to the prop officer list is to deal with the gap to allow the Chief Executive to deal with electoral matters concerning vacancies. All these matters are to update our constitution in line with current practices. Could I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Dickinson. Do any members wish to speak? Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chair. Just as we're at the end of the meeting, and it does link with what I'm about to say, I do think we really need to review how this full council operates. There's a few simple facts that I think it's worth pointing out. First of all, we have a cabinet executive model. All powerful, makes the vast majority of decisions. That administration has...
It is a debate on the report.
It is,
Councillor.
but it is tied in with that. If you just permit me 2-3 sentences within the time.
Stretching it slightly.
I'm stretching, but it's an important point. And the administration are less than 40% of the members. And this is a theme I've repeated about the opportunities and the way ordinary members are treated. The way that the questions were cut in half, when a lot of members, this was their opportunity to ask questions, and maybe the first time speaking. And I am coming on to, which is tied in with this, the watering down of scrutiny. The pre-scrutiny's been got rid of. And again, that...
Yeah,
I'm back
sorry, Councillor Hill.
I'm coming to the...
No, this is debate, and it's debate.
Chair, I'm coming to my point. I'm coming to my point, and it all links in. And it's
refer those in writing to myself.
If you listen to my premises, and I'm just about to come to the point about scrutiny and about the wording. Yes,
it's about this report.
Councillor Benny, I'm just coming to it. Okay, I'm just coming to it.
Councillor Hill.
So on,
if you can, no, Councillor Hill.
It's a really important point about scrutiny.
No. Councillor Hill, if you can put that in writing to me, that will go to the Constitution Work Group. This is a report.
I'm about to speak on just say something about the wording in the report, which is before us, and it's linked with that preamble. Scrutiny, as I say, has been watered down, and I'm just looking for some reassurance because I'm just a bit concerned about the wording here. One of the key things that scrutiny does is make recommendations.
Councillor Hill, sorry.
I'm talking on the report now.
Councillor Hill, it's quite simple. If you're against it, vote against it. If you're for it, vote for it.
There is such a thing in procedure called a debate. You've asked for a debate.
Yeah, on this
yes, and I'm looking at the actual
Councillor
wording.
Hill,
Speaking
I'm
on
not
the
going
wording.
to allow it, Councillor Hill. Please sit down.
Chair.
Please sit down,
Chair,
Councillor Hill.
I'm
going to the
something
Councillor
about the
Hill.
wording.
I am going to the vote. Please sit down.
Councillor Benny, I think
Councillor
that's really
Hill.
unfair. You've been a very good impartial chair. I'm speaking directly. I'm looking at a page. I'm about
Councillor
to
Hill,
quote
I don't
wordings.
see that. Councillor Hill.
Well, I think that's ridiculous.
Councillor
And I'm
Hill.
going to vote against
Yeah.
because you're getting rid of making recommendations
Councillor Hill.
and it's watered down to contribute.
Councillor Hill,
So I'm going to vote
please
against.
sit
I'm
down.
disappointed at your
Thank you.
intervention.
Thank you. Can we have a seconder for this report? Councillor Dickinson has already done that. We will now go to the vote. We will now go to the vote. All those in favour? We will have to count because it looks quite close. Those against? And abstentions? That's carried 41 for, 11 against and 12 abstentions. Right, thank you, councillors. We have no other items to consider. Can I please remind members that again, January's council meeting will begin